Title: The Harmonic Consciousness Theory, an in-depth exploration of universal consciousness. By Daniel Wright. Abstract. This paper presents an extended examination of the harmonic consciousness theory, HCT, which posits that consciousness is not merely a byproduct of biological processes but interacts with and is part of a universal field of consciousness. Here, we explore consciousness as a spectrum of frequencies, integrating insights from quantum physics, biology, psychology, and spiritual traditions. The theory is expanded to discuss the implications of consciousness being universal, its role in animating physical existence, and how it might explain diverse phenomena from dreams to near-death experiences, from natural synchronization to human intuition. Keywords: consciousness, universal consciousness, harmonic frequencies, quantum entanglement, dream states, near-death experiences, consciousness field, spirituality, neurobiology, time perception. Table of contents. Introduction. The genesis of HCT. The conceptual framework. Theoretical foundations. Consciousness beyond the brain, a universal field perspective. Frequency and vibration, the language of consciousness. Biological and physical manifestations. The brain as a local interface. Consciousness and the animation of matter. Quantum consciousness and entanglement. Non-local consciousness, quantum implications. The role of entanglement in consciousness interaction. Altered states of consciousness. Dreams as nonlinear frequency tuning. Near-death experiences, merging with the universal. Nature's harmonics. Synchronization in the natural world. Plants, animals, and consciousness frequencies. Human consciousness and experience. Intuition, prophecy, and universal knowledge access. Meditation and spiritual practices as tuning mechanisms. Cosmic consciousness. The universe as a conscious entity. Black holes and consciousness convergence. Challenges, critiques, and future directions. Addressing skepticism. Experimental propositions for HCT. Ethical and philosophical implications. Redefining self and other. Consciousness and the fabric of reality. Conclusion. The Symphony of Consciousness. Future explorations and integration with science. Introduction. The harmonic consciousness theory, HCT, has evolved from a speculative framework to a comprehensive theory that challenges our conventional understanding of consciousness. Initially born from personal anecdotes and observations of phenomena that transcend traditional explanations, HCT proposes that consciousness is not confined to the human brain but is a universal phenomenon, interacting through frequencies akin to how music fills a concert hall. This paper embarks on an in-depth journey through HCT, exploring its theoretical foundations, biological implications, and its potential to unify various aspects of human experience with cosmic phenomena. We will delve into how consciousness might operate on quantum principles, interact with physical reality, and manifest in both the mundane and the mystical. HCT does not claim to have all the answers but aims to provoke thought, inspire new research, and perhaps, provide a new lens through which we can view ourselves as part of a larger, cosmic consciousness. By integrating insights from across disciplines, we propose that what we perceive as individual consciousness might be notes in a grand symphony, where each of us plays a unique part in the universal harmony. As we proceed, we'll address how the theory can interpret the animating force of life, where consciousness interacts with matter. The nonlinear experience of time, particularly in dreams or prophetic insights. The synchronization seen in nature, from flocks of birds to the behavior of plants under different stimuli. The profound experiences of near-death, spiritual awakenings, or meditative states as tuning into different frequencies of this universal consciousness. This exploration will not only expand the scope of HCT but also challenge us to reconsider our place in the cosmos, pushing the boundaries of science, philosophy, and spirituality towards a more unified understanding of existence. Chapter 1: The Genesis of HCT. The Seed of an Idea. The harmonic consciousness theory, HCT, did not emerge from the sterile environment of a laboratory but from the rich soil of personal experience, curiosity, and a profound sense of connection to the cosmos. My journey began with a childhood marked by mystical visions, synchronicities, and a questioning spirit that refused to accept consciousness as merely a product of the brain. This chapter traces the roots of HCT, from its inception to its current form, highlighting key moments that shaped this theory. Early influences. Angelic encounters. My mother's story of angels at my birth was my first introduction to the idea that consciousness might extend beyond the physical, hinting at a spiritual or universal dimension. Natural wonders. An adolescent moment of awe before what I initially mistook for a UFO but was later understood to be the sun in its setting glory, opened my eyes to the possibility that consciousness could resonate with cosmic phenomena. Life's trials and revelations. From near-death experiences to prophetic dreams, each event in my life contributed to the tapestry of HCT, suggesting that consciousness might operate on different frequencies, accessible under certain conditions. The development of HCT. Philosophical underpinnings. My exploration of ancient texts, modern science, and spiritual teachings began to coalesce into a theory where consciousness was seen as part of a universal field, akin to how music exists in waves of sound. Personal anecdotes as evidence. Each chapter of my life, from my career as a barber where I connected with people on a deep level, to prophetic visions that seemed to come true, served as empirical data points for HCT, illustrating how personal consciousness might interact with or be influenced by this universal field. Interdisciplinary insights. My theory drew from physics, quantum mechanics, field theories, biology, the role of the brain as an interface, psychology, altered states of consciousness, and spirituality, the notion of a collective or cosmic consciousness, creating a holistic view where consciousness is both personal and universal. The harmonic model. Consciousness as frequency. Just as a radio can tune into different stations, I propose that consciousness can tune into different frequencies of a universal consciousness field, explaining phenomena from empathy to precognition. Resonance and interaction. Life's events, from the synchronized flight of birds to the profound experiences under psychedelics, are seen through HCT as moments of harmonic resonance, where individual consciousness aligns with or is influenced by this broader field. The role of the brain. While the brain handles local storage for physical functions, HCT suggests it also acts as a receiver or tuner for these universal frequencies, explaining why some experiences seem to transcend our physical reality. Challenges and acceptance. Scientific scrutiny. HCT faces the challenge of empirical validation. Unlike traditional science, it deals with phenomena that are often subjective or not easily measurable with current technology. Cultural and philosophical resistance. The theory also navigates a landscape where materialist views of consciousness dominate, yet it seeks to bridge science with spirituality, offering a model where both can coexist. Personal journey as catalyst. My life's narrative serves not just as personal testimony but as a call to others to question, explore, and perhaps find their own resonance with this theory. Moving forward. This chapter sets the stage for a deeper dive into HCT, where each subsequent section will explore how this theory can explain, interpret, or inspire research into various aspects of consciousness. From the quantum entanglement of thoughts to the cosmic scale of consciousness, we will delve into how HCT might not only change our understanding of ourselves but also how we interact with the world and the universe at large. Chapter 2: Theoretical Foundations. Consciousness beyond the brain, a universal field perspective. The harmonic consciousness theory, HCT, challenges the traditional paradigm where consciousness is seen as an emergent property of the brain. Instead, it proposes that consciousness is part of a universal field, much like electromagnetic fields that permeate space. Here, we explore the conceptual framework that supports this view. Universal consciousness field. Imagine consciousness not as confined within our skulls but as a field that extends throughout the universe. Just as we all share the same spacetime continuum, we might also share in a field of consciousness where individual minds are like nodes or tuning forks. Non-local consciousness, drawing from quantum physics, particularly the concept of entanglement, HCT suggests that consciousness might not be bound by space or time, allowing for phenomena like telepathy, precognition, or synchronicities. Frequency and vibration, the language of consciousness. Consciousness as frequency. If consciousness is akin to energy, then it might operate on a spectrum of frequencies. Just as light has different wavelengths, consciousness could have different wavelengths or frequencies, each associated with different states, experiences, or levels of awareness. Vibrational interaction. This model explains how different states of consciousness, alertness, dreaming, meditation, can be shifts in frequency, where daily life operates on a normal frequency where consciousness is tuned to physical reality. Dreams, a shift to frequencies where time and space are less rigid, allowing for experiences that seem to transcend our waking reality. Spiritual or mystical states, tuning into higher or more subtle frequencies, where one might experience unity with the cosmos or profound insights. The role of resonance. Harmonic resonance. Just as musical notes can resonate with each other to create harmony, HCT posits that individual consciousnesses can resonate with the universal field, explaining empathy and intuition. These could be seen as natural resonances where one's consciousness aligns with another's or with informational frequencies within the field. Collective consciousness. Movements or shifts in societal consciousness might be large-scale resonances where many minds tune into similar frequencies. Synchronization in nature, murmurations of birds, the collective behavior of bees, or even the synchronized flashing of fireflies can be interpreted as biological entities resonating with a common frequency within this field. The brain as interface. Local versus non-local. While the brain has local storage for immediate processing, survival, and bodily functions, HCT sees it as a receiver or tuner for the universal consciousness. Brain waves. EEG patterns might not just be signs of brain activity but indicators of how well one is tuned into this universal field, with different brain states corresponding to different frequencies of consciousness. Altered states, meditation, psychedelics, or near-death experiences could be viewed as altering this tuning, allowing access to broader aspects of the consciousness field. Philosophical and scientific integration. Panpsychism and HCT. While panpsychism asserts consciousness is fundamental to all matter, HCT provides a mechanism for how this might work through frequency and resonance. Quantum consciousness. Theories like orchestrated objective reduction, ORC, by Penrose and Hameroff resonate with HCT by suggesting quantum processes in the brain might connect to a broader consciousness field. Challenges of measurement. The subjective nature of consciousness poses a significant challenge to empirical validation of HCT, yet it invites new forms of inquiry where subjective experience is not dismissed but explored. Conclusion. This chapter lays the theoretical groundwork for HCT, proposing that consciousness is not just something we have but something we are part of, a vast, interconnected field where we all play our unique notes. In the following chapters, we'll explore how this theory can be applied to understand various phenomena, from the natural world to human experience, challenging us to see consciousness not as isolated but as universally shared. Chapter 3: Biological and Physical Manifestations. The brain as a local interface. In the harmonic consciousness theory, HCT, the human brain is seen not as the sole generator of consciousness but as an interface between the physical body and the universal consciousness field. Local storage for physical functions. The brain handles immediate biological and cognitive tasks, like regeneration of flesh, managing the body's healing processes and physical maintenance. Information recognition and processing, dealing with sensory input, memory, and cognitive functions necessary for interaction with the physical world. Beyond local, however, HCT posits that for phenomena like intuition, creativity, or profound insights, the brain might be tuning into or receiving from broader aspects of the universal consciousness, suggesting consciousness as an antenna. The brain can modulate its state to resonate with or receive from this universal field, perhaps through altered brainwave patterns or during states like meditation or dreaming. Consciousness and the animation of matter. Consciousness as life's animator, HCT suggests that consciousness animates biological life, where physical movement requires consciousness to be engaged with the physical frequency. When consciousness tunes into other frequencies, like during sleep, physical movement can be inhibited, explaining phenomena like sleep paralysis or the stillness of meditation. Life force, the vitality of living organisms might be seen as consciousness interacting with matter at various frequencies, where health or vitality could be influenced by how well one's consciousness resonates with life-sustaining frequencies. Biological evidence for HCT. Brain waves and states, different states of consciousness, awake, dreaming, deep meditation, correlate with distinct brain wave patterns. HCT interprets this as frequency tuning. Each state might represent tuning into different aspects of consciousness, from the dense, focused frequency of waking life to the expansive, less defined frequencies of dreaming or deep meditative states. Neuroplasticity, the brain's ability to reorganize itself might be seen as adapting its tuning capabilities, allowing for new experiences or learning to resonate with new frequencies of consciousness. Placebo effect, the power of belief or expectation to alter physical health could be seen as an example of consciousness influencing biology by tuning into frequencies of healing or well-being within the universal field. Physical phenomena explained by HCT. Synchronization in nature, from murmurations of starlings to the synchronized flashing of fireflies, these could be interpreted as collective tuning, where organisms tune into a common frequency for survival or communication, suggesting a shared consciousness or at least a shared response to universal frequencies. Plant behavior, plants responding to different stimuli, light, sound, even human emotions, might be engaging with the consciousness field, adjusting their growth or behavior based on these interactions. Human physiology, the body's response to music, color, or even architectural spaces might be due to how these elements resonate with our consciousness, affecting mood, health, or behavior. Implications for medicine and health. Holistic healing, if consciousness can interact with or influence physical health through frequency, then practices like sound therapy, meditation, or even certain forms of prayer could be seen as methods of tuning consciousness for healing. Psychosomatic effects, the interplay between mind and body could be reconsidered as consciousness directly interacting with physical states, suggesting that mental states are not just correlated with but can cause physical changes. Challenges and future research. Empirical validation, while HCT offers explanations, proving that consciousness directly influences physical matter through frequency would require innovative experimental designs, perhaps looking at how consciousness states correlate with physical changes or healing. Interdisciplinary studies, combining neuroscience, biology, psychology, and quantum physics might offer new insights or methodologies to test HCT's implications on biology and physics. Conclusion. This chapter explores how HCT might interpret the biological and physical manifestations of consciousness, suggesting that our physical existence is closely tied to our ability to resonate with or tune into different frequencies within the universal consciousness field. From the neural to the natural, HCT proposes that life itself might be a dance of consciousness with matter, where every living being is both a player and a listener in the symphony of existence. Chapter 4: Quantum Consciousness and Entanglement. Non-local consciousness, Quantum implications. The harmonic consciousness theory, HCT, posits that consciousness might operate on principles similar to those observed in quantum mechanics, particularly with regards to non-locality and entanglement. Quantum entanglement. Just as particles can become entangled, sharing states instantly across vast distances, HCT suggests that consciousnesses might also entangle, where shared experiences or thoughts could be explained by consciousnesses tuning into or resonating with the same frequency, effectively sharing information or states without physical interaction. Intuition and empathy might be instances of entangled consciousness, where one individual state influences or is known by another's, regardless of distance. Non-locality. This implies that consciousness could transcend traditional boundaries of space and time, offering explanations for premonition or remote viewing, where one might access information from distant or future events by tuning into the relevant frequency within the universal consciousness field. The role of entanglement in consciousness interaction. Collective consciousness. If consciousnesses can entangle, then what we perceive as group thought, cultural phenomena, or even mass psychic events could be manifestations of this entanglement, where cultural trends spread rapidly as if consciousnesses are tuning into a shared frequency, creating or following a collective narrative or behavior. Spiritual gatherings might enhance this entanglement, leading to experiences of unity or shared visions among participants. Personal connections. The deep bonds between twins, lovers, or even between a person and their pet might be explained by a form of consciousness entanglement, where mirroring behaviors or emotions could be due to a resonant frequency established between the consciousnesses involved. Quantum effects in biological systems. Quantum biology. Recent research into quantum effects in biological systems, photosynthesis, bird navigation, suggests that life might leverage quantum mechanics. HCT extends this to consciousness. Microtubules in neurons. Some theories propose that quantum processes within microtubules could be involved in consciousness, acting as quantum tuners or processors for consciousness frequencies. Coherence and consciousness. If biological systems maintain quantum coherence, this could support the idea that consciousness involves quantum states, allowing for phenomena like non-local awareness or rapid information processing. Experimental hypotheses. Testing entanglement in consciousness. Experiments could look for synchronized brain activity between individuals with strong bonds or during moments of supposed telepathic communication, using EEG or FRI to detect correlated neural activity. Quantum-inspired protocols. Designing experiments akin to those used in quantum physics to test for non-local effects in consciousness, perhaps through meditation or synchronized intention studies. Philosophical and ethical considerations. Consciousness as information. If consciousness shares characteristics with quantum information, this could redefine our understanding of privacy, individuality, and the nature of identity. Privacy in a quantum world. If consciousness can be entangled, does this imply we are less private than we think? Ethics of influence. The ability to influence or be influenced by others' consciousness at a quantum level raises questions about consent and autonomy. Challenges to the quantum consciousness model. Empirical evidence. The challenge lies in demonstrating quantum effects in consciousness. Current technology and methodologies might not be sensitive enough to detect such subtle interactions. Interpretation. Even if quantum effects are found in biological or consciousness phenomena, interpreting these as consciousness entanglement or frequency tuning would be speculative. Conclusion. This chapter explores how quantum mechanics might provide a framework for understanding consciousness within HCT, suggesting that what we perceive as individual consciousness could be part of a larger, entangled network where information and experience are shared beyond local constraints. By considering consciousness through the lens of quantum physics, HCT opens up new avenues for thinking about the interconnectedness of all life and the potential for a science of consciousness that transcends traditional boundaries. Chapter 5: Altered states of consciousness. Dreams as nonlinear frequency tuning. Within the harmonic consciousness theory, HCT, dreams offer a profound insight into how consciousness might interact with the universal field in ways not bound by the linear constraints of waking life. Time perception in dreams. The experience of time in dreams, where minutes in reality can feel like hours, suggests frequency tuning. In dreams, consciousness might resonate with frequencies where time is perceived differently, accessing a nonlinear aspect of the universal consciousness where past, present, and future coexist. Non-physical exploration. Dreams could be moments when consciousness detunes from the physical world, exploring other dimensions or frequencies of the consciousness field. Out-of-body experiences. Common in dreams, these might be literal tuning into frequencies where consciousness is not confined to the physical body's location. Near-death experiences, merging with the universal. Experiences beyond the body, NDEs are often characterized by life review, light, unity. These could be interpreted as consciousness merging with or tuning into the highest or broadest frequency of the universal field, where individual identity dissolves into a sense of all-encompassing consciousness. Healing and insight. The transformative nature of NDEs might result from accessing healing frequencies or gaining insights from this broader consciousness. Meditation and spiritual practices as tuning mechanisms. Conscious tuning, practices like meditation, prayer, or ritual are seen in HCT as deliberate attempts to alter consciousness frequency. By slowing down brainwave patterns or focusing intention, practitioners might tune into different aspects of the universal consciousness, leading to experiences of peace, insight, or unity. Mystical experiences, states of enlightenment or profound spiritual experiences could be when consciousness resonates at or approaches the frequency of the universal consciousness, offering glimpses of unity or cosmic understanding. Psychedelics as frequency modulators. Altering perception. Psychedelics are known for changing consciousness frequency. They might act as a chemical means to shift the tuning of consciousness, allowing access to or interaction with different parts of the universal field, explaining the shared geometric visions or profound insights reported. Dissolution of self. The experience of ego death or the feeling of being part of everything could be the consciousness tuning into a frequency where individuality is no longer perceived as separate. Altered states and HCT. Unity of experience. Across these altered states, there's a common theme of breaking down barriers between self and other, time and space, suggesting that consciousness, when not anchored in the physical, resonates with a broader, interconnected field. Healing and transformation. These states often lead to personal growth or healing, which might be due to access to universal wisdom. Altered states could facilitate tuning into frequencies where healing insights or energies are more accessible, aligning individual consciousness with the universal for therapeutic effects. Challenges and investigations. Subjective nature. The personal, subjective nature of these experiences complicates scientific study, yet neuroscientific correlates. Research into brain activity during meditation, NDEs, or under psychedelics might show patterns that align with HCT's predictions of frequency shifts. Cultural and historical analysis. Examining how different cultures have described these states could reveal a universal language or experience of consciousness tuning. Conclusion. This chapter illustrates how HCT interprets altered states of consciousness not as anomalies or mere brain functions but as windows into different frequencies or aspects of a universal consciousness. By understanding these states through HCT, we might begin to see them as natural, perhaps even necessary, parts of the human experience, where consciousness explores or interacts with the broader tapestry of existence. This view encourages a re-evaluation of what we consider normal or abnormal consciousness, proposing instead a spectrum of consciousness where each state has its place in the symphony of the universal mind. Chapter 6, Nature's Harmonics. Synchronization in the Natural World. The harmonic consciousness theory, HCT, views the synchronization observed in nature not just as biological phenomena but as manifestations of a shared or collective consciousness tuning into the same frequency. Murmurations, swarms, and flocks. Collective tuning, these displays, where thousands of individuals move as one, could be seen as organisms tuning into a common frequency for survival or communication, suggesting a form of group consciousness. Resonance with environment. Perhaps these creatures are resonating with environmental cues or even each other's consciousness, creating a harmonic pattern visible in their coordinated actions. Fireflies and bioluminescence. Synchronized light. The flashing of fireflies in unison might be interpreted as tuning into a frequency of light or timing, where their collective consciousness harmonizes with natural rhythms like day/night cycles. Plants, animals, and consciousness frequencies. Plant behavior and response. Sensitivity to harmonics. Plants reacting to sound, light, or even human emotion might be engaging with consciousness frequencies, adapting their growth or behavior based on these interactions. UV patterns. The way plants develop patterns visible only in UV light for pollinators could be an example of plants tuning into the frequencies of their ecological partners, illustrating a symbiotic consciousness interaction. Animal instincts. Instinct as frequency. Instinctual behaviors that seem to bypass learning, like migration or nest building, might be consciousness tuning into evolutionary or environmental frequencies, guiding actions beyond immediate sensory input. Consciousness in animals. The complex social structures, problem-solving abilities, or even mourning behaviors in animals could be seen as expressions of consciousness interacting with or resonating within the universal field, much like in humans. Biological rhythms as harmonic patterns. Circadian rhythms. Tuning to cosmic frequencies. These internal biological clocks could be organisms tuning into the harmonic patterns of Earth's rotation, light cycles, or even lunar phases, suggesting an innate resonance with cosmic rhythms. Seasonal changes. Frequency shifts. The way animals and plants change with the seasons might not just be responses to environmental cues but also to shifts in the consciousness frequencies that align with these cycles. Implications for ecology and evolution. Ecosystems as consciousness networks. If consciousness is a universal field, then ecosystems might be seen as networks where different species tune into each other's frequencies for mutual benefit or survival. Symbiosis could be understood as a harmonic relationship where different life forms resonate together in a way that enhances life for all involved. Evolution might involve species gradually tuning into new frequencies or altering their resonance with the environment, leading to adaptation and speciation. Research and observations. Empirical evidence. While direct proof of consciousness frequency in nature is challenging. Behavioral studies, observing how animals or plants respond to artificial or natural stimuli could provide indirect evidence of tuning into specific frequencies. Interdisciplinary approaches, combining biology, physics, and consciousness studies might offer new experimental designs to explore these concepts, perhaps through the study of bioelectromagnetism or bioacoustics. Philosophical and ethical considerations. Unity with nature. HCT encourages a view of nature where all life is interconnected through consciousness, potentially leading to a broader ethical framework, where we consider our actions not just in terms of physical impact but also how they resonate within this consciousness field. Reverence for life. Recognizing that all life might be part of the same consciousness symphony could foster a deeper respect for the natural world. Conclusion. This chapter explores how nature itself might be a grand demonstration of HCT, where life's patterns, behaviors, and interactions are not just biological but also harmonic, part of a universal consciousness that orchestrates the dance of life. By understanding nature through this lens, we gain insight into how consciousness might be fundamental to all existence, prompting us to consider our place within this cosmic harmony and our responsibility to maintain or enhance its balance. Chapter 7: Human Consciousness and Experience. Intuition, Prophecy, and Universal Knowledge Access. Within the Harmonic Consciousness Theory, HCT, human experiences like intuition or prophecy are not dismissed as mere happenstance but are seen as tuning into specific frequencies within the universal consciousness field. Intuition? Tuning into subtle frequencies. Intuition might be the result of consciousness resonating with information or insights not immediately accessible through sensory data, suggesting a connection to a broader, perhaps timeless, knowledge base. Prophecy. Future frequencies. Prophetic insights could be explained by consciousness accessing frequencies where future events are already part of the consciousness field, akin to how one might pre-experience or resonate with future moments. Meditation and spiritual practices as tuning mechanisms. Deliberate tuning, through meditation, prayer, or other spiritual practices, individuals might shift consciousness frequencies. These practices could be seen as methods to alter one's consciousness frequency, allowing access to insights, peace, or a sense of unity with the universal consciousness. Experience enlightenment. Moments of enlightenment or spiritual awakening might be when personal consciousness resonates most closely with the universal, leading to profound understanding or change. Creativity and inspiration. Art as frequency expression. Creative flow. The state of being in the zone or experiencing creative flow might be when consciousness aligns with frequencies of creativity or inspiration within the universal field, channeling novel ideas or expressions. Shared human experience. The universality of certain themes or archetypes in art across cultures could be seen as tuning into common frequencies or aspects of the collective consciousness. Human connections and relationships. Empathy and love. Shared frequencies, empathy, deep understanding, or love might be explained by two consciousnesses tuning into the same frequency, where emotional states are shared or co-created. Resonance in relationships. The profound connections we feel with others might be due to a harmonic resonance, where our consciousnesses are in tune, leading to feelings of unity or deep connection. Altered states and consciousness expansion. Psychedelics, dreams, and NDEs. Accessing different dimensions. These experiences provide avenues for consciousness to explore different frequencies or aspects of the universal field, often leading to insights or transformations not possible in normal waking states. Healing through consciousness. The therapeutic potential of these states might arise from tuning into frequencies that facilitate healing, whether through psychological insight or accessing universal wisdom. The role of consciousness in daily life. Everyday consciousness. Tuning to survival frequencies. Much of our daily consciousness is tuned to frequencies necessary for physical survival and social interaction, but moments of daydreaming, insight, or sudden understanding might be brief tunes into other parts of the consciousness spectrum. Learning and growth, education, personal development, or even life's challenges could be seen as opportunities for consciousness to expand its tuning capabilities, accessing new frequencies of understanding or skill. Challenges to understanding human consciousness. Measurement and validation. Subjective versus objective. The deeply personal nature of consciousness experiences makes empirical validation challenging. However, brain imaging during states of intuition, meditation, or creativity might show patterns consistent with HCT's tuning hypothesis. Cultural and personal variations. Different cultures or individuals might naturally resonate with or learn to tune into different aspects of consciousness, complicating a one-size-fits-all model. Conclusion. This chapter explores how HCT might explain the rich tapestry of human conscious experience, from the mundane to the mystical. By considering human consciousness as part of a universal field, we begin to see our thoughts, emotions, creativity, and connections not as isolated phenomena but as part of a larger, harmonic interaction. This perspective not only enriches our understanding of ourselves but also invites us to consider how we might consciously tune into this field for greater insight, compassion, and unity with all existence. Chapter 8, Cosmic Consciousness. The universe as a conscious entity. The harmonic consciousness theory, HCT, extends the concept of consciousness beyond biological entities to the cosmos itself, proposing that the universe might be a vast, conscious field. Cosmic mind. Universe as consciousness. Just as individual consciousnesses tune into a universal field, the universe itself could be seen as one grand consciousness, with galaxies, stars, and planets as its expressions or thoughts. Interstellar connections, the way stars, black holes, and cosmic structures interact might be seen through HCT as forms of communication or consciousness at a cosmic scale, where each part contributes to the whole's consciousness. Black holes and consciousness convergence. Singularity as pure consciousness. Convergence of frequencies, black holes, where all matter and light converge into a singularity, might represent points where all consciousness frequencies collapse or merge into one, perhaps offering a metaphor for unity or the dissolution of individual into universal consciousness. Information and consciousness. The theoretical idea that black holes preserve all information that enters them aligns with HCT's notion that consciousness might be stored or exist in a form beyond our physical comprehension, accessible perhaps in different states or dimensions. Hawking radiation as emanation. Releasing consciousness. The concept of Hawking radiation, where black holes emit particles, could be metaphorically seen as the release or transformation of consciousness back into the universe, suggesting a cycle of consciousness where even at the cosmic level, there's an ebb and flow. Cosmic events and consciousness. Supernovae and birth of elements. Creation frequencies. The birth of new elements in supernova explosions might be seen as the universe expressing or expanding its consciousness through matter, each element a new note in the cosmic symphony. Cosmic microwave background, CMB. First light of consciousness, the CMB, remnants of the Big Bang, could be interpreted as the initial thought or light of the universe, with all subsequent consciousness resonating from this cosmic dawn. Implications for human understanding. Our place in the cosmos. Microcosm of macrocosm. If the universe is conscious, humans might be seen as microcosms of this macrocosmic consciousness, our lives part of a larger narrative or expression of universal consciousness. Spiritual and scientific fusion. HCT suggests a model where science, physics, cosmology, and spirituality, the idea of a sentient universe, converge, offering a holistic understanding of existence. Philosophical and metaphysical considerations. The nature of reality. Consciousness as fundamental. If consciousness is as fundamental as matter or energy, then our understanding of reality shifts from a purely physical to a consciousness-inclusive paradigm. Existence and observation. The role of an observer in quantum mechanics might find a parallel in HCT, where consciousness not only perceives but also participates in the creation of reality. Challenges and future directions. Empirical exploration. Cosmic consciousness studies. While direct study of cosmic consciousness is speculative, exploring how human consciousness might resonate with cosmic events, like solar flares influencing human behavior, could offer indirect evidence or insights. Interdisciplinary research, combining astrophysics, quantum mechanics, and consciousness studies might lead to new theories or questions about how consciousness interacts with or is influenced by cosmic phenomena. Conclusion. This chapter expands HCT to the cosmic scale, suggesting that consciousness might be a property of the universe itself, where each star, each galaxy, plays a part in the grand consciousness of existence. By viewing the cosmos through this lens, we are invited to consider our own consciousness not as an anomaly but as an integral part of the universe's own self-awareness. This perspective challenges us to look beyond our planet, beyond our species, to understand consciousness as a universal phenomenon, perhaps leading to a new era of cosmic philosophy or science where we are all participants in the universe's ongoing story of becoming conscious. Chapter 9, Challenges, Critiques, and future directions addressing skepticism. The harmonic consciousness theory, HCT, faces a myriad of challenges due to its departure from traditional scientific paradigms. Empirical validation. Lack of direct evidence. HCT deals with phenomena often beyond current measurement capabilities, leading to questions about how one might empirically test such a theory. Subjective experiences. Much of the evidence for HCT comes from personal or anecdotal experiences, which are difficult to standardize or replicate in scientific studies. Scientific scrutiny. Materialism versus consciousness. HCT challenges the materialistic view where consciousness is seen as an emergent property of brain function, requiring a shift in how we understand consciousness's origin and nature. Quantum consciousness. While quantum mechanics offers intriguing parallels, linking it directly to consciousness remains speculative, with the risk of being dismissed as pseudoscientific without rigorous experimental support. Critiques and counterarguments. Reductionism and holism. Critique. Some might argue that HCT oversimplifies or mystifies what can be explained by biology, psychology, or physics without invoking a universal consciousness field. Counterargument. HCT doesn't deny these explanations but proposes an additional layer where consciousness interacts with or is part of the fabric of reality, potentially integrating rather than opposing these fields. Testability. Critique. The theory's broad scope might make it untestable or unfalsifiable, key criteria for scientific theories. Counterargument. While direct testing is challenging, HCT can generate testable hypotheses around how consciousness might influence physical or biological systems, offering new avenues for research. Experimental propositions for HCT. Neuroscience and consciousness. Brainwave studies investigate how different states of consciousness correlate with brainwave patterns, potentially supporting the idea of tuning into different frequencies. Altered states research. Study the effects of meditation, psychedelics, or NDEs on consciousness, looking for patterns that suggest interaction with a universal field. Quantum biology. Microtubules and consciousness. Explore the role of quantum effects in microtubules or other cellular structures in relation to consciousness, testing for coherence or entanglement-like effects. Collective consciousness experiments. Group meditation. Measure the impact of synchronized intention or meditation on physical or social systems, looking for effects that might suggest a shared consciousness frequency. Future directions. Interdisciplinary research. Unified theories. HCT might inspire work towards unifying theories of consciousness, biology, physics, and spirituality, perhaps leading to new scientific disciplines or methodologies. Technology and consciousness. Develop or use existing technologies, like biofeedback or neurofeedback, to explore how we might consciously tune into different frequencies or states. Philosophical evolution. Reevaluation of consciousness. HCT could prompt a reevaluation of what consciousness means, how we measure it, and its implications for ethics, identity, and the nature of reality. Education and public discourse. Bring HCT into educational settings or public discussions to broaden the understanding of consciousness, encouraging a more integrative view of science and spirituality. Cultural and historical analysis. Global consciousness studies. Examine how different cultures describe consciousness, looking for patterns or commonalities that might align with HCT's principles. Conclusion. This chapter acknowledges the significant hurdles HCT faces while also outlining how these challenges might be met with innovative research, thought experiments, and a willingness to expand scientific inquiry into areas previously considered the domain of philosophy or spirituality. While HCT might not be fully accepted in traditional scientific circles, it serves as a catalyst for questioning, exploring, and perhaps ultimately understanding consciousness in new, profound ways. The journey of HCT is not just about proving a theory but about expanding human thought and experience towards a more holistic understanding of existence. Chapter 10, Ethical and philosophical implications redefining self and other. The harmonic consciousness theory, HCT, prompts a profound re-evaluation of identity, ethics, and our relationship with the universe. Unity versus individualism. Interconnected consciousness. If consciousness is part of a universal field, the traditional boundaries between self and other blur, suggesting ethical unity. Actions towards others might be seen not just as impacting individuals but resonating through the consciousness field, affecting the collective consciousness. Moral responsibility. This interconnectedness could expand our ethical considerations, encouraging actions that benefit the whole consciousness network, not just the individual. Identity and consciousness. Beyond the ego, HCT challenges the egocentric view of self, proposing that we are part of something much larger, where personal identity is both unique and part of a universal consciousness. Self-realization. Understanding oneself as part of this field might lead to spiritual practices or philosophies focused on unity, compassion, and the dissolution of ego. Consciousness and the fabric of reality. Reality as consciousness. Co-creation of reality. If consciousness influences or co-creates physical reality, this implies intentional living. Our thoughts, intentions, and actions might have a direct impact on the physical world, suggesting a need for mindful living where we consider the vibrational impact of our consciousness. Healing and manifestation. Techniques like meditation, visualization, or even prayer could be seen as methods to harmonize or influence reality through conscious interaction with this field. Time and consciousness. Nonlinear time. HCT's view on consciousness interacting with different frequencies could alter our perception of time, where past, present, future are not strictly sequential but accessible points within the consciousness field, influencing how we perceive destiny, free will, and the purpose of life. Ethical considerations in a consciousness-connected world. Privacy and autonomy. Consciousness entanglement. The potential for consciousness to entangle or influence each other raises questions about privacy of thought. If consciousness can interact non-locally, what does this mean for personal privacy or the autonomy of thought? Consent and influence. Ethical considerations arise around influencing others' consciousness, whether through intention, technology, or spiritual practices. Environmental ethics. Consciousness of nature. If all life is part of a consciousness field, then stewardship. Our relationship with the environment might shift from exploitation to guardianship, recognizing the consciousness in all forms of life. Sustainability. Ethical living would involve tuning into frequencies that promote harmony with nature, understanding that our actions resonate through this field. Philosophical implications for science and spirituality. Bridging disciplines. Science and spirituality. HCT suggests a model where scientific inquiry can explore spiritual questions, potentially unifying knowledge, offering a framework where science, philosophy, and spirituality can converge, leading to a more holistic understanding of existence. New scientific inquiry, encouraging research into areas previously dismissed as mystical, like telepathy, precognition, or the effects of consciousness on physical systems. The quest for understanding. Human purpose. If we are part of a universal consciousness, our purpose might be seen as to harmonize with this field, contributing to the evolution or expression of consciousness in the universe. To explore the depths of this field through science, art, and spiritual practice, expanding human consciousness's reach into the cosmic. Conclusion. This chapter explores how HCT not only redefines our understanding of consciousness but also our ethical and philosophical frameworks. By proposing that consciousness is universal, HCT invites us to consider how we live, interact, and perceive our place in the cosmos. It challenges us to think beyond traditional boundaries, fostering a worldview where ethics, identity, and our very understanding of reality are intertwined with a shared consciousness. This perspective could lead to profound shifts in how we approach life, science, and spirituality, urging us towards a more compassionate, interconnected existence. Chapter 11. Conclusion. The Symphony of Consciousness. The journey through the harmonic consciousness theory, HCT, has been one of exploration, speculation, and deep questioning about the nature of consciousness and its place in the universe. We've ventured from personal anecdotes to cosmic implications, proposing that consciousness is universal, not merely a brain function but a fundamental aspect of existence, akin to a cosmic symphony where each of us plays a unique note. Frequency and resonance. Consciousness might interact with reality through frequencies, where tuning into different aspects of this universal field explains a wide array of phenomena, from the intuitive to the mystical. Unity and interconnectivity. HCT suggests a profound unity with all of existence, where every thought, emotion, or action resonates within this field, affecting and being affected by the whole. The harmony of science, philosophy, and spirituality. A new paradigm. HCT doesn't just add to the discourse on consciousness, it potentially rewrites it, offering a bridge between science and spirituality, where empirical investigation meets the exploration of the inner self and the cosmos. A challenge to traditional views, encouraging us to question our assumptions about reality, individuality, and the nature of existence. Reflections on the journey. Personal insights. My life story, woven into this theory, serves not only as a testament to its ideas but as an invitation for others to explore their consciousness in light of this broader context. Critique and growth. By facing skepticism head-on, HCT becomes stronger, more nuanced, inviting further research, debate, and personal introspection. Future explorations and integration with science. Research directions. HCT opens new avenues for empirical study, developing methods to explore how consciousness might interact with or influence physical systems beyond traditional boundaries. Technological innovation, perhaps creating tools or practices that help us consciously tune into beneficial frequencies for health, creativity, or understanding. Philosophical inquiry, encouraging a re-evaluation of ethics. In light of interconnected consciousness, how do we live ethically in a world where our thoughts and actions resonate beyond ourselves? Identity. What does it mean to be an individual if we are all part of a universal consciousness? A call to action. Live harmoniously. If consciousness is indeed a field we all share, then living in harmony with this understanding means service and compassion, acting with the awareness that our well-being is tied to the well-being of all. Curiosity and openness, remaining open to the mysteries of consciousness, encouraging exploration, and embracing the unknown. Contribute to the symphony. Each of us has the potential to influence this consciousness field through creativity, adding new melodies, insights, or expressions to the cosmic symphony. Healing, both personal and collective, by tuning into frequencies of love, peace, and understanding. Final thoughts. This book, this theory, is not an endpoint but a beginning, a call to tune into the vast possibilities of what consciousness might be. As we conclude, remember that HCT is an invitation to see the world through a lens where the individual and the universal are not separate but part of the same grand narrative. May this exploration inspire you to listen more deeply to your own consciousness, to harmonize with others, and to contribute to the ongoing symphony of the universe. Daniel Wright.